welcome back to For Real Guide, or if you're new here, welcome. I hope you're all having an absolutely incredible day. Now, today we're talking all about personal boundaries, and boundaries is one of my favorite topics because it ensures that you keep your dignity and that you keep the dignity of others when you both establish healthy boundaries. So without further ado, let's get into the 9 signs that you might be lacking some personal boundaries. Okay, so number 1 is when you agree when you actually really feel like disagreeing. This one is definitely really hard for me, and when I started taking note about the things that I was agreeing to and really wanted to disagree, I realized I was a lot more of a people pleaser than I thought I was. So if you find yourself saying, sure, I'll, take you to the airport, or like, yeah, I would love to do that, blah, 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 and then you actually are like, oh my God, why did I say that? Or when the time comes around, you're like, I really don't want to go. You might have problems with setting personal boundaries. Okay, so the second sign that you might have problems setting personal boundaries is if you give away too much of your time and energy. If you find that at the end of the day, you are absolutely exhausted, and you feel like you don't really have that much time to just hang out with yourself, to do what you really want to do, and you feel like your energy is so drained, you might have a problem setting personal boundaries. And honestly, it might be mistaken for just simply being busy. I remember when I had this problem, I just thought, oh, I'm just working really hard, or like, I'm just, like a go-getter, an overachiever. Then I realized, no, the reason why I'm giving away so much of my time and energy is because I have a problem setting personal boundaries. Ever since I started setting personal boundaries, now I have so much more time and so much more energy to fill with positive vibes for myself. So the third way to know if you have a problem setting personal boundaries is if you often have toxic relationships. If you're looking at your relationships and you're thinking, oh my gosh, why is there such a pattern of toxicity? That might not necessarily mean that it's you. It might mean that you have a problem setting boundaries and you kind of let toxic people walk all over you. Because think about it, toxic people like to feed on other individuals that are weak or that are easy to manipulate. So make sure that you're setting personal boundaries so that you don't let toxic people into your life. Okay, so the fourth sign that you lack personal boundaries is if you take care of everyone else and always seem to forget about yourself. Now, being a giver and being nurturing and being a good friend or girlfriend or boyfriend or daughter or son or whatever is an amazing quality to have. That's great that you're always giving. You're always, the person that's a shoulder to cry on. That being said, if you are always thinking of others, you need to check in with yourself and ask yourself, am I making myself feel good? Am I ever thinking about myself and what I need? Because, there's no award for being the nicest person, the nicest friend. You don't really get an award for that. But the award that you can get is having a fulfilling life with your friends, family, and loved ones, and also with yourself. So make sure you're thinking of both. Okay, so the fifth sign you're lacking personal boundaries is if you're afraid of disappointing people. Now, this goes hand in hand with being a people pleaser, because let's think about it. If you're a people pleaser, if you're always, making sure everyone is doing good, what are you really doing? There's probably an underlying fear that you're going to disappoint people. And I know that this is something that I've struggled with. I totally thought I wasn't a people pleaser. I thought I was independent, doing my own thing, and then I realized so much of my good deeds or whatever, so much of what I was doing was people pleasing, and it was stemmed from the fact that I was scared of conflict, because I was scared that, if I did something wrong in their eyes, they would get mad at me, so I would do everything right for other people. But that's not living your true, authentic life, and that's not living true to yourself. So make sure that you are putting yourself first and you remove that fear of disappointing people. Okay, so the sixth sign that you lack personal boundaries is if you overshare in order to seek approval. You don't owe anyone an explanation or, a reason for something, or even sometimes an apology. You don't owe people an excuse for why you don't want to go somewhere with them or why you don't want to do an errand for them. You need to take care of yourself and your life. So if you're always over explaining things like, oh my gosh, like I would love to, but like I actually have this other thing, like my boyfriend's gonna get mad at me because like I have to do this and I have to do that, blah, blah, blah. What you're really doing is you're trying to give every excuse in the book. You're trying to seek approval because you're scared that your simple no answer isn't enough. People are gonna get mad at you. So live fearlessly and stop over explaining. Okay, so the 7th sign that you lack personal boundaries is if you're scared of what people think of you. If you have a fear of what people think about you, then you're not able to live your most authentic life. You should be able to wear what you want, do what you want, have the beliefs you have without fear of being scrutinized and ridiculed by your peers or other people. So if you find that when you go out into the world and you share certain things about yourself, and you kind of have to water it down, or you have to be someone you're not, or you just seem to be closed off, you know, that might not mean that you're mysterious or shy or whatever. That might mean that you lack personal boundaries with yourself and that you need the approval so much that you're gonna water yourself down. You should definitely feel like your most authentic self every day, so who cares what people think? The 8th sign that you lack personal boundaries is if you feel guilty for doing something for yourself. There's nothing wrong with being a little selfish because at the end of the day, all we really have is ourselves. So don't feel guilty about saying no to driving someone somewhere. Or, you know, if you want to do something by yourself and you don't want company, don't feel bad about saying, hey, I'm just gonna do it by myself. If someone makes you feel bad for those small things, then they are not a good person and not a good friend. So the 9th sign you lack personal boundaries is if you genuinely feel like you have to put others before yourself to earn a place in this life. I know the whole what is my purpose question is super intense, but I think it's something we all have thought once or twice, or if you're like me, think about it very often. And it's super normal to want to know what is my purpose or like why am I here? Because the fact that we're just here existing can sometimes be really overwhelming and really depressing. That being said, your existence is enough. You don't have to prove yourself no matter what you were taught when you were little by your parents or whatever. You are enough. You don't have to earn your right to your livelihood by being a good person or whatever. You are enough. Always remember that. Well, there you guys have it. Those are 9 signs you might be lacking some personal boundaries. Now, I know that this can be a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. I totally thought that I had great boundaries with myself, but upon further inspection, realized I'm a little bit of a people pleaser as well. So if you find that, you know, you're kind of being walked all over or you're lacking some of these personal boundaries, now's a great time to start standing up for yourself. And tune into one of my later videos and I'm gonna talk all about how to stand up for yourself and how to actually put these into action. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to like the video so I know to keep making more like this, and to subscribe to my channel to keep seeing more self-help and growth type videos. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and I will see you in the next one.